Beat juggling is a really cool, as I was saying earlier, way of expressing yourself on turntables. And beat juggling started with backspinning. Okay? There's been recently, since Hip Hop 50, a lot of new narratives surrounding where juggling and this style of DJing originates. I saw a video the other day. Some DJ platform posted that Grandmaster Flowers was the first to extend beats, and that's not true. It wasn't Grandmaster Flowers. This style of DJing, beat juggling, you could trace it back to Grandmaster Flash. No one was manipulating records the way Grandmaster Flash was in circa 1975. Before that, DJs were either letting entire songs play, waiting to the very end to transition to the next song, i.e. like my father, that's the way he DJ'd. Then you had disco DJs like David Mancuso, Francis Grazzo, Nicky Ciano that were in the clubs. They were Italian, and they were doing very fundamental, basic mixes, transitioning from one song to the next before the song ended to keep everyone on the dance floor moving and not leaving the dance floor. Herc, I would say, is the DJ that started playing music to cater to b-boys, breakers.
One night, I'm waiting for the record to play out. I said, I wonder if I put that to myself. I said, if they're waiting for this particular break and I have a couple more records that's got the same breakup in it, I wonder how would it be if I put them all together. And I told them, I said, I'm going to try something new tonight. I'm going to call it a merry-go-round.
Herc's merry-go-round meant that instead of playing whole records, he would play just the instrumental breaks, mixing between them to create a continuous dance rhythm.
I started out with James Brown, clap your hand, stomp your feet. That part right there, when the break, boom, I had to come in with bongo rock. Bongo rock was still no vocals in it, and I would go into Baby Huey, the Mexican. And it was like, whoa, I think we got some hit.
So breakbeats are those sections of a song where the music dies down, right? And you just hear, for the most part, the prominent instrument being the drummer. Or it might be the drummer and a bass player. Or it might be the drummer and some violins. Actually, I'll play a song so we could listen to what a break sounds like. So the break part lasts but so long. Herc would obviously play vinyl back in the 1970s. There were no laptops. So he would pull out records and go right to the break part of these records. Just by looking at the vinyl, he could tell where the break part was on a specific record, obviously from studying it, right? So you would look at a record, look at the label and know, okay, the break part is about at the middle of this piece of vinyl. Or I got Impeach the President. The break part is at the beginning of this specific piece of vinyl that has Impeach the President on it. So you, after DJing, practicing, getting or building a relationship with the music, the records that you owned, you would kind of know where the break parts live, and Herc would just go from break to break to break to break to break while the B-boys danced. Flash, the scientist that he was, a lot of people don't know, but as a teen, he went to a vocational school to become an electrician. So his mind was already a curious mind. He liked to figure out how things worked. And so that scientist mindset in him allowed him to figure out a way to manually repeat the break part so that it's not just, how long does this last? Let's see. 2, 3, 4 bars. And then it goes back to the singing. And no one wants to break to this vocalist, this female vocalist singing. They just want those drums. So what Flash would do, which is interesting because now these companies are adapting these creative ways that these young black teens from the Bronx, New York City, had to figure out how to make it not necessarily easy, but how to make it make sense for them while they're rewinding the records. Because remember, as you're rewinding a record, what you're staring at in the 1970s isn't a mark. It's Sutra Records, the year, all this writing, and that could be confusing to look at while you're trying to figure out where does the break start. So Flash would take a crayon and write an arrow so that he could look at that arrow and it be his guide, right? So now these companies are writing Serato with this big white font with this black, label as the background so that your eye could pick this Serato mark out and track the mark. So what he would do is write a mark on the label, an arrow. That arrow was like the hand of a clock, and he would use that as his guide. Flash, and I'm not trying to dispute Flash. This is the guy that started backspinning, so I'm not trying to come off like a know-it-all or anything like that. But he says that he would count the revolutions. A part of me doesn't really believe that he would sit there and count 1, 2, 3. When I grew up watching my brother do this, for example, it was more feel. It was more intuitive. So it's like after a while, rewinding, your body just kind of knows how many revolutions to get back to that start point of the break. So I don't necessarily think that Flash stood there counting. That's hard for me to believe. I think that from practicing, his body just got used to how many rotations to rewind so that he could keep that break part going. So with regards to backspinning, this is what it looked like and sounded like. I'm not counting. I'm moving off feeling. It's intuitive to me. Then I could shorten it. I could shorten it more. And even more. And that, thank you, thank you very much. That's the first letter in the alphabet of beat juggling. Backspinning.